a slight feeling of dread, I turned on my PC. Today was the day that Mr. Hepburn started as my new boss, and I was as nervous as hell. He'd seemed a perfectly nice guy at the meeting a couple of weeks ago, so it wasn't that I was worried he'd be an awful boss. It was because I already had an almighty crush on him. Throughout the meeting with the accountant, we kept snatching glances at each other, and each time I did, I found myself getting turned on just a little bit more. So by the end of the almost 2-hour meeting, I couldn't have felt more horny if Jamie Dornan himself had been giving me a lap dance. As I worked through the day's worksheets, I heard voices in the corridor outside my office, nervously anticipating meeting the man who would now be paying my wages. Trying to look industrious, I put my head down and carried on typing. "Ah, and here she is," Mr. Barlow said gaily. "My marvellous PA, Sarah. Sarah, your new boss, Mr. Hepburn." I looked up with a ready smile and almost peed my pants. Standing in front of me was Mr. Beautiful, Roman, looking just as handsome as that day at his accountant's office. As he approached my desk, a small, knowing grin appeared on his gorgeous face, and he flicked out his tongue to wet his lips. My heart rate quickened, and I could feel the heat creeping up my neck as he held his hand out to me. "Sarah, nice to see you again. And call me Roman." He took my hand and gently rubbed his thumb across the back of it as he shook it. "I look forward to working with you." Swallowing back the sigh I so wanted to let out, I smiled. "Thanks, Mr. Hepburn, but my name's actually Summer?" "Oh, of course it is," Mr. Barlow said, wafting his hand at me. "I always get it wrong. I have a granddaughter called Sarah, you see, Roman." I looked up at Roman, expecting to see a sexy smile. Instead, his face was thunderous, and I had no clue why. Chapter 2. "Summer!" Roman bellowed from his office so loudly that it rattled the pictures on the walls. "Get in here, now!" Rolling my eyes, I scraped my chair back from my desk and walked to the doorway. "Yes?" "I didn't say, Summer, stand in the doorway. I said, Summer, get in here, now." Resisting the urge to stick my tongue out at him like a toddler, I plastered on a smile and took one step forward so that technically I was standing in the office. Roman looked at me, shook his head and huffed loudly. "Where the hell is the report for the Palisades development? I asked you to put it in the folder on the shared drive and it isn't there." "It is," I stressed, moving towards his desk. I leaned forward and brushed his hand away from his computer mouse, making a couple of clicks. "There." "That's not where I asked you to put it." Roman snatched the mouse back and clicked on the file. "That folder is called Shopping Centre. I asked you to call it the Palisades." I looked down at him, my eyes wide with frustration. Seriously, how many shopping centres are we actually working on? "Just do as I ask in the future and don't backchat me." I shook my head and returned to my desk, leaving a grumpy boss muttering away behind me. I had no idea why I stayed working for him, as we seemed to wind each other up without even trying. Mr. Barlow had been lovely and never raised his voice. We had mutual respect for each other. I'd thought that Roman was grumpy on that first day, once Mr. Barlow had left, but he was a pussycat then compared to how his mood had declined over the last month or so. He'd gradually been getting more impatient and testy. Finally, yesterday, when I came in late after a visit to the dentist, he hit the roof, bawling and shouting that he needed me to help with the details of a new contract, information that I had already added to the shared drive and also emailed to him earlier. Me being me and unable to hold my tongue, I gave it back to him with both barrels. And so, a shouting match ensued. It lasted for a good 10 minutes before he told me to get back to my desk and do some work. I'd waited with bated breath all day for him to tell me I was fired, but he didn't. He simply carried on all day, ordering me around and being a miserable sod. The memory of those furtive glances and how nice he'd seemed at his accountant's office all those weeks ago was getting hazier with every mean comment he made. As I continued typing up the statement of works Roman had given to me for another of our contracts, I tried to get my head around why he was so angry with me all the time. 50 people worked for Roman, if you didn't count the contractors he used, made up of 40 tradesmen and 10 office staff, including me.